Hey everybody, this is Caroline Smith here. In this video, we are doing 4th grade Unit 1 Lesson 3, which is on rounding. So we're going to start with the whiteboard. If you don't have your whiteboard, that's okay. We're just going to review a couple of topics from previous grades on rounding. If you do have your whiteboard, go ahead and pause, grab your whiteboard, grab a marker, and then hit play to jump back in with me. So rounding is another way to estimate, which is another way to say a savvy guess. So we've been talking about place value, and just to review some of our place values, if you have your decimal right here, this is our ones, our tens, our hundreds, our thousands, and that can go, there's way more over here, there's way more over on that side, but we're focusing on these ones right now. And you'll often hear someone say, round to the nearest, and then they'll insert a place value, like they'll say round to the nearest 10. That show up as a little light, I'll do a different color. Round to the nearest 10. Oh, that also looks very light. Black. And let's talk about what that means. So if they give you a number like 17, they want you to identify what 10 it is the closest to or nearest to. So go ahead, draw a number line. If you have 17 right here, well, actually, let's put our nearest tens. So what is the 10 below 17? 10. What is the 10 above 17? 20. Let's put those two on a number line. 10, 20. What is exactly halfway between 10 and 20? 15. Where does 17 fall on this? Now, even though we don't have all these little lines, we know that 17 is somewhere in between 15 and 20. So let's say here's 16, 17, 18, 19, right? So 17 would be right here. We can see that the distance between 17 and 20 is like that much, and the distance between 10 and 17 is way bigger, right? So the nearest 10, the one that it is closest to, is 20, right? Okay, hopefully this is sounding familiar. Now, we're going to practice this quite a bit with different place values, but the big thing that kids mess up on that I've noticed is when you have a number that has a 5 in that in-between place. So what if I said, instead of 17, what if we had 15? That part's a little bit tricky because it's about 5 away from each, right? Well, because of that, we have this little phrase that we like to use where it says 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar, which is another word to go up. So if the number in the smaller place, so if we're talking about our tens, we look at the tens place and then look one to the right. If that is 5 or more, it's the higher 10. If it is 4 or less, so all of these numbers, 14, 13, 12, 11, all of these ones will rest at this 10. Okay, you might have heard some variation of this sort of rhyme, but that's a a way to help kids remember, where do we go with 5? So 4 or less, let it rest. 5 or more, let it soar. Okay? So you might be wondering, okay, I've done rounding to the nearest 10 before, but what about if we're going to the nearest, I should have grabbed a tissue. If we're going to the nearest 100. So what if you have a number like 162? What's the nearest 100? So you have to ask yourself, okay, what's the 100 above and below? The 100 below would be 100. We're looking at our hundreds place, so that one is 100. And then just above that would be 200. So we'll put 100 over here, 200 over there. What's halfway, the midpoint between 100 and 200? 150. All right. Now, where does 162 fall in between this 100 and 200? It'll be past the 150, right? It'll be over here. So 160 would be right here, and then 162 would probably be right there, just a little bit past it. Then you ask yourself, which 100 is it closer to? The 200 or the 100? Look at that distance. Look at that distance. It's much closer to the 200. Okay? All right. Hopefully that's sounding familiar. I'm also going to put a Brain Pop Junior video to help you if you're still feeling stuck before you start doing the pages. So I'll post that in the link. It'll be underneath the link where you found this video. And if you're still feeling confused, go ahead and watch that Brain Pop and then jump back into this video, okay? All right. So we're gonna go ahead and start with our book now. So go ahead and open up to page 9. All right, I'm gonna turn this light back on. Whew. Turn this light off. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna grab, let's see, I'll use blue. So we just talked about rounding. We're continuing with that same idea. When we talk about the nearest 10, we're looking at the tens place and thinking about, with a 0 in the ones place, which 10 are we talking about? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Even if there's a number that's like 185 or something, the nearest tens for that would be 180 and 190, right? Okay, so let's practice rounding this to the nearest 10. Let's look at 87. We're looking at the tens place. Peek over to the right. 7. Okay, so we're asking, is this between the 87, between 90 and 80? Even do a little number line. 80, 90. 85 would be right there. So 87 would be right about here, which is closer to 90. And if you'd like, you know what? I think I might do this. I think I might just use my whiteboard underneath my book. Let me grab a little tissue to erase. And I'll just draw with a number line for a lot of these. That's a good practice, especially while we're just starting this off. Okay, so from 80 to 90, 85 is right there, 87 would be there, so it's closer to 90. Right, 90. Okay, where'd my tissue go? There it is. New number line. 16 is between which two tens? 10 and 20. So what's right in between? 15 Where would the 16 be? Right about here. 16, and that is closer to the 20. New number line. 171. Which two tens is that in between? 170 and 180. Right? What's in between? 175 is right in the middle. Where's 171? Right about here, right? So that means it's a lot closer to 170. The nearest 10 is 170. All right, ooh, look at this big old number they're trying to scare us with. 2,165. What two tens is that in between? So moving this, keeping this here and moving up one. So 2,160 and 2,170, right? So right in between that would be 2,165. Oh no, and that's right in the middle, and that's our number. So what do we think? 4 or less. Let it rest at 10 where it is. 5 or more. Let it soar. Let's go up to the next one. So that'll be 2,170. Okay. Next one. Our number is 5,114. So that's between 5,110 and 5,120. That's what we're changing the tens place. Which 10 is it closer to? Well, 5,115 would be right there, right in the middle. And then 5,114 is right before that, right there, which means we are closer to 5,110. Scooch this over a little bit so my head's not blocking it. Okay. Down there. There we go. Okie dokie. Too much stuff. Maybe I'll just scooch my head that way. All right, next one. Our last one, we're going to the nearest 10 right now. Make our number line. We got the number 3,098. Well, going up into the next 10 would be what? So we're at 3,090, and then we're at 3,100. 3,095 is right in between, and then 3,098 is right there. So that means we're closest to 3,100. Pretty cool. All right. Go ahead. I think I'm going to move my head over to the other side over here. How about that? There we go. Okay, so next one. Let's see. Now we're going to the nearest 100, so that's the next place over. So if we have 734, the hundreds place where it already is 700, and the next highest hundreds place would be 800. What's halfway between those two hundreds? 750. And where would 734 be on this? It would be right about maybe here, which means we are closer to 700. All right, next one. 363. What 100 is it currently at? 300. What's the next biggest 100? 400. Halfway in between. 350. Where would 363 be? right about here, right? Ish. We're using this as like a way to conceptualize this. So that would be closer to the 400, right? Okay. Hopefully you're feeling pretty good about this. Next one, 178. What hundred is it currently at? It's at 100. What would be the next big 100? 200. Halfway in between, 150. Where's 178? Bigger than 150, right? It's right over here. Ish. Which makes us closer to 200. Okay. We're on a roll. We're doing great. Next one. 6,249. Okay. What hundred is it currently at? It's 6,200. The next hundred would be 6,300. Look at what they did here. It's so silly. Halfway in between would be what? 6,250. What did they give us? This number that's right here, so close. But it is still technically closer to 6,200. I just like one. Okay. Next one, 8,251. I think you know where they're going with this one. All right, the 100 where it currently is at 8,200. The next 100 will be 8,300. Halfway in between, 8,250. And what did they give us? Right here, which means we're closer to 8,300, aren't we? Okay. Next one. Here we go. 8,992. Which hundreds are we between? It's currently 8,900. Well, what's 100 more than that? 10,000, that's right. Right in between it's 8,950. And then 8,992 would be right about here. Super duper close to 9,000, which means that is our nearest 100. Okay, next one. Here we go. We're talking about rounding to the nearest 1,000. Whew. Okay. 1,275 is our number. What 1,000 place are we currently in? 1,000. What's the next one? 2,000. What's in between? 1,500. Right? Then, where's this number fall? 1,275. Less than 1,500, right? So it'll be right, maybe about right here. 1,275, which means the nearest 1,000 is the 1,000. Okay. Let's do the next one. Our number is 8,655. We are currently at which 1,000? 8,000. The next 1,000 will be what? 9,000. Halfway in between is 8,500. Then, where's 8,655? It's past the 500, right? It's over here somewhere. Which means we are closer to 9,000. All right. Woo, almost used the wrong marker. This one. 5,482. Which 2,000s are we between? Well, we're starting at 5,000. The next 1,000 would be 6,000. Halfway in between is 5,500, 5,500. And then 5,482 is super close to that, but it's a little bit less, right? So it's right about here, which means we are closer. Our nearest 1,000 is that one. Okay, we've got 3 more on this page. We can do it. Okay, let's do it. 3,804. What 1,000 are we at right now? What's the next 1,000? What's halfway in between? Where's this number? Did you get what I got? I got 4,000. Hopefully you got that too. Okay, next one, here we go. Look at what they're trying to do. They're trying to trick you. Can't trick you. No way. 1,501. Which one are we at already? What's the next one? What's halfway in between? Where does this number go? It's right there. So close. But what does that mean? It's closer to 2,000, just by the hair of its chinny chin, right? Okay, here we go. Next one. Let's see. The number is 9,702. We're in between 9,000, and then what's the 1,000 after that? 10,000, right? Whew, 10,000. Geez, look at what you're doing right now. Halfway in between those, 9,500. And then where does this number go? Right about there, right? So what's the nearest 1,000? The closer one. This one. 10,000. Okay. Whew, go ahead. I feel like we're going pretty fast on that one, but go ahead, kiss your brain. Nice job. Give yourself a little smiley face. And then we're going to turn the page. Okay. So we were already basically doing this. We were deciding which number is greater than or bigger, and which number is smaller or less than. One thing that I kind of used to help me with this, because I like understood the concept of like larger versus smaller, but I always would get these little thingies mixed up. Some people have the whole like alligator trick, which I think is good, but it would still help. It would still be hard for me to like read it correctly when the teacher was like, read it out loud like a sentence, you know? So what I do is the one that looks like this, it kind of looks like a capital L, right? So I would use that to remind me that it's less than. And then the other one, I mean, it's just not like an L, so that's how I do it. So if you're ever asked to read it out loud, if it's like 4, 8, and you put it in like that, you're supposed to read it as 4 is less than 8. And it kind of looks like an L. Okay, hopefully that helps you. All right, let's take a look. Let's look at this problem. Jim has 24 trading cards and Hattie has 42 trading cards. Who has more cards? How do you know? Well, I think probably instinctually you might be thinking, of course, Hattie has more, right? But like, what is it that's telling you that Hattie has more? Because I see a 4 and a 2 in both numbers, right? Well, the big hint is that the bigger number is in the bigger place value. Even though they both have a 4 and a 2, 4 tens is way bigger than 2 tens. And they don't have any hundreds, they don't have any thousands. That's the biggest one they have. So that's really the one you need to compare. If they were the same, like say it was like 32 and 36, if the tens place was the same, that is when you're going to start looking at the smaller place value. And then you see, oh, 2 and 6. Well, 6 is bigger than 2. So this one would be the bigger number. So 32 is less than 36. Okay? So let's draw in the place value. And of course, don't forget the equal sign is for equals, right? So 26 and 29, they do have the same number in the tens place. So now we need to go look at the ones place. What's bigger, 9 or 6? The 9 is bigger, so we say 26 is less than 29. 44 and 34. Even though the ones place is the same, it doesn't matter. We're looking at the tens place because that's the bigger one. We look there first. 4 is greater than 3, right? So we can say 44 is greater than 34. 26 and 62. Do we care about the ones place right here? No, because the tens place are already different. 2 is a smaller number than 6, right? So we say 26 is less than 62. Okay, if you're feeling good about this, I want you to go ahead and do this first row and see how you're feeling. And then, like, pause here, do this first row, and then hit play and see if you got it right. Okay, if you want to stay with me, you can stay with me. So over here, 74, 77, tens place is the same. Now we look at the ones place. 7 is more than 4, so we say 74 is less than 77. All right? 85 and 58. We don't even need to look at the ones place. The tens place is already very different. 8 and 5. What's bigger? 8. So we say 85 is greater than 58. 162. Ooh, this is the first one where we have a hundreds place involved. It is the same. 100, 100. So now we look at the one to the right, which is the tens place. 20 versus 60. What's bigger? The 60, right? So we're going to say 126 is less than 162. Okay? All right. So hopefully you finished that, you know, you're feeling pretty good. You can go ahead and try this next row if you'd like. So 200, that's the same. 50 versus 30, what's bigger, 50 or 30? 50. So 253 is greater than 235. 600, that's the same, not very helpful. 20 versus no tens. Yeah, that 20 is bigger. So 620 is greater than 602. 800 versus 500. Ooh, we don't even need to look at the rest of those. 800 is greater than 500. Okay. Start here. 28. 400 versus 400. The same. 70 versus 80 though. The 80 is bigger. So 478 is less than 488. Next one. 3,000, same. 200 versus 900 though. That 900 is bigger. So 3,294 is less than 3,924. 8,000 versus 9,000. What are you thinking? Easy, right? 8,000 is less than 9,000. Hopefully that little L trick is helping you. That made it so much easier for me to like say it and read it like with words. Okay. If you're feeling good, you go ahead and try these last two rows. I'm going to do them, so hit pause, go for it. Okay, here we go. 6,000 is the same. 700 is the same. Tens place, we got 0 versus 6. That 6 in the tens place makes that one the bigger one. Okay, so 6,706 is less than 6,706. 4,000, the same. Hundreds place, 100, 0, 100. Well, 100 is greater than, so we say 4,106 is greater than 4,016. Okay, next one, here we go. 1,000, that's the same. 900 versus 700, what's bigger? 900. So 1,997 is greater than 1,799. Okay, here we go. 9,000 to 9,000, that's the same. 100 to 700, what's bigger? 700. So 9,172 is less than 9,712. 5,000 to 5,000, same. 200 to 200, same. 90 to 60 though. What's bigger? Yeah, that 90. So 5,296 is greater than 5,269. Okay, 7,000 to 7,000, same. 600 to 600, same. 80 to 80, same. 4 to 4, same. What do you do if it's the same number? Well, don't forget, you can use your equal sign if they're the same number, right? Equal just means same on both sides. So equal 7,684 is equal to 7,684. Okay, so that's it for this lesson. I'll see you next time for Unit 1, Lesson 4. All right, bye-bye.